This video is made for adult collectors because, oh my goodness, my webcam fell off. I hate this webcam, it's so bad. The only reason I watch the Super Bowl is for the movie trailers. This was a weird one to announce, but hey, the Super Bowl is a couple of months away at the time of me recording this, so I guess that makes sense. But football helmets. American football helmets. Interesting. For the sake of my sanity and everyone else's ears, I'll just be calling these football helmets and not American football helmets. I know football is soccer and blah blah, but it would get really annoying to listen to me say American football over and over and over again. So I'm acknowledging it right now. This is American football and American football helmets. I'll start in helmet mode because that just makes the most sense to me. But yes, this is a football helmet and a really good one at that. They got the shape pretty much on point with the face cage thingy and the chin strap. I was actually surprised they included the chin straps. Chin strap, by the way, stores the football. I like that. There is a suspicious 5mm port at the top of this helmet on the inside, leading me to think that this should be plugged into something. It's probably just there because it was a space to fit a port and you could put like a 5mm flight stand in it. But I don't know, it's not gonna stop me from trying to put this on top of random things until it fits. Jokes aside though, this is a dense and solid ball, about the size of an apple, which is funny because I was just casually holding the Kansas City Chiefs one the other day, not thinking about it, and subconsciously thought I was holding an apple and actually did think about taking a bite and then realized this is not an apple, this is a fucking toy. You can pretty much see the robot hanging out on the inside of the helmet. It's an elaborate shell former after all, but a shell former nonetheless. However, they tuck everything away pretty well to really only reveal the shins and the feet at first glance. The face guard thing can come off if that's something you want, though the bits at the top still remain, and I think those are supposed to come off too if you take the actual cage off of a helmet. But I like these helmet modes a lot. Now, if they did 4 different basketballs, then I would definitely be down for that. I used to play basketball all throughout school. Their transformations are a tad on the complex side, and I can totally see where some people might either struggle or just not like these conversions. Personally though, I find them quite intriguing. So I'll do it with this guy because he's the most camera friendly because his colors are so bland. This dude will get washed out in the white. This I want to save for a thumbnail thing, and he's too dark for the camera. So we're gonna do this. So to start with, the first thing we're gonna do is take the football out of the mouth guard. So it just plugs into a 3mm peg right there, which means if you have anything else 3mm, this football can just plug onto it. Then you want to parts form it. I know. We're gonna take the face guard off. And honestly, I'm okay with this. I'll talk a little bit more why in a second, but like, this just makes life a whole lot easier if you just take this off. So once that's off, we're going to come back here to the back of the head. And this is important. You want to take this part and raise it up first, okay? And I'm going to show you here. It's a little bit harder to do, but you want to take that up and out. Because you see those little hook tabs right there? They sort of lock this whole back section into place. And if you rip the legs out first, you break them off. I broke them off because I did this in the wrong order. So the first thing you want to do is take this piece and bring it up. Otherwise you will snap those tabs off. That's on me, but like, you know, very specific order of operations to do that. Once you've done that though, you want to take this entire assembly here and bring it down. It's going to unpeg and basically split the whole helmet in half. Then you straighten out the legs and bring the torso down and it will sort of soft click into place. Then you split the legs, rotate these sections. You want to unpeg them from these side pieces and rotate them up. They will click into place, and then these just sort of shove into here. And the tab that connected it to this piece now slides into a slot in there, holding it in place. That's pretty cool. Then you fold the feet down and bring out the heels, and that's a leg. It's pretty panely, but like they manage the panels in quite a nice and fluid way. I like doing this. This order of operations is nice. Once you have that done, you've got the legs. So the arms, what you want to do up here is, you see this little like tube? You want to rotate, pull this out, and then rotate it down while simultaneously pulling the shoulder pad out so that you can bring this out all the way and it'll clip in. And then when going back, you want to shove this section in and then push it in like this. This piece will now go over top of this gray panel here. Then you rotate that in and that locks everything into place like so. You have to do it in a that specific way, otherwise it just doesn't work and it becomes annoying. But it's really fun to just go boop and then twist and it all goes into place. I don't know, that's just satisfying. But we'll bring that out on both sides here. That'll be the shoulder pads. This side's really tight. Once you have that done, you bring the arms out like that. You're going to fold out the fists. If I can get my thumbnail in there. Then we're going to come to the back. You want to open this front section up and then pull this piece as far as it'll go back. Then under here, you want to push the head out like this while simultaneously folding this down.
and get all of this folded up, get the torso, collapse that in, and then collapse the backpack into place. It does peg in, and you just bring that up. And that is the football guy in his robot mode. You can't see that very well. There he is. Then you take this piece that you took off, and that will just plug in to the gap on the back. And there he is. I really like doing that transformation. I know some people aren't gonna like the parts for me thing that much. I think it's fine. It's got a place to go in both modes, so I don't care. But yeah, I just think that the first time I got it, it was really annoying and the helmet kept falling off. But now that I've figured out how it works, it's very fun.
Yeah, I know some may not like the parts forming thing, but honestly, I'm okay with it not being on several hinges because that part looks like it could have been a nightmare to try and get around the figure. Otherwise, these dudes look pretty good. I like how they have the build of a football player with the bulky shoulders, broad torso, and powerful legs. The way the torso is done makes it look like he is wearing pads underneath a shirt. The backpack is a bit much, but that can be removed if you don't like it. They are a nice size, being the size of a larger deluxe, but a lot more bulky. It feels like there's more going on here than the average deluxe, and I find that nice because these, at least here, cost the same as a normal deluxe. I was expecting there to be like NFL tax, but I guess there isn't. In robot mode, I think the Green Bay Packers colors are my favorite, like overall. The shins of 3 of the 4 are entirely painted at the front, meaning tabbing the feet into place for alt mode might scratch the shins if you aren't careful, so just keep an eye out for that. Each one comes with a football, a very well done football I might add. They got all the texturing and the stitching like super correct for something this size, and they're entirely painted, so don't actually throw them. And they have their helmets. They can come off, and so can the face guards to reveal their, well, faces. Some of them are neat and others are straight up horrifying. I'm gonna have nightmares later. Their heads underneath are tiny as hell, but I appreciate the fact that this can still do that. Their articulation is not something I was expecting to be this good either, given the bits that this thing has just hanging off of it. It is surprisingly posable.
So I'm gonna pick this guy to do the articulation. So there's a lot of stuff in here that's like really cool and I wasn't expecting, and then other things that do kind of get in its own way. Just, I mean, look at how much stuff is hanging out up here. So the heads can pretty much only rotate left and right. Like you can't really go up or down because the backpack gets in the way, and then the helmet likes to move about and then come off. He looks like he's got a high visibility like hard hat on. But yeah, the heads I wish were a tiny bit better. The shoulders are on ball joints. They can do a full 360 degrees. They can go out that far. You do have a bicep rotation and 90 degrees of bend at the elbow. Nothing at the wrist just because it folds in like that. They do have waist joints, which is nice, but because of transformation, ab crunches. I wasn't expecting an ab crunch on this thing, but you can sort of like puff that forward and then puff this back and sort of get him into a really dynamic stance. Oh, there you go. He's got a dynamic stance. But yeah, I love the inclusion of the ab crunch. That's just great. The legs can go forward that far. They can go back that far. They can go in and out. You do have thigh rotation, which is a double mushroom peg, which is nice. Does have 90 degrees of bend at the knee. However, if you move this panel down a bit, you can get more of a knee bend because it has to suck into the leg for transformation. So you just move that out of the way. I like that. And then the ankles can go down. They can go up all the way. And he has ankle pivot and ankle rotation. So extremely posable football guy. I just wish the head had a bit more range. That's like the only thing I don't like. You can sort of like move all of this backpack out of the way to then get him to look up on that hinge, but it is a bit awkward. And then when you rotate the head, right, with this head is stuck with the helmet, you can't do that anymore because the helmet bumps into these like side pieces here. So yeah, head articulation, only thing I wish that was better. Everything else I think is pretty cool. And the backpack doesn't get in the way, nor does it weigh it down because he has really massive heels.
I really dig these. If you're a football fan, I think these are a worthy pickup, especially with the Super Bowl coming up soon. If you aren't that big of a football or sports fan though, these are very niche and probably not your niche at all. And while they are cool and all, I honestly would say spend your money on like the Hot Wheels guys over these if you just don't like sports. They're better pickups for non-sports fans. But that's been my look at the Transformers NFL crossover figures. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.